update while I'm working on this. Now these are just temporary light fixtures that I hung up here to have some light while I'm working in here. I'm going to put a long office light or LED. It looks kind of like a fluorescent light. And that's why I didn't put a box here, because the light's not wide enough to cover the box. So I'm going to try to cover this hole a little bit. I'll figure out something when I'm ready to put that up. Yeah, I'm doing all the mud and tape myself. I'm not a taper, so I don't have all the right equipment. I'm a little slow at it, but I got some mud here. It's mixed up from I didn't do this yesterday. This was the day before. I got home from work pretty late yesterday. And I'm just going to hit a couple spots that are, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a couple of little dimples here where little things like this don't need much, just a quick wipe. Leave it on there a little bit thick because it's going to shrink while it dries. And I got these rags up here so I don't hit my head. I've already done plenty of that. There's a seam here. I'm not going to tape it. It's just a very small piece, and it's got 2 screws here and 2 screws there, so I don't think it's going to need any tape. As much as I hate the sanding, I'm really not too bad at it because I've done a lot of body work over the years, and that kind of gives me a little bit of an advantage since I'm not a taper. I've learned how to sand. See it? You hit a little bump like that and it leaves a ripple all the way across. Wipe it again. You can't whip this stuff full speed, of course. It'll fly out of there. It's just a little trial and error how much to put in there. You just want it creamy so it flows smoothly and sticks good, but not too wet where it's falling off. And you can mix this by hand in a pan, like that yellow pan there, if you're just doing a little tiny bit. You mix it by hand with your trowel. Add just a little bit more water because it's gonna be drying out on me while it's in the bucket. Now I can go full speed. We'll rinse this off. And this is not going to clog the drain like plaster will. You never do this with plaster. This is mud. It's water soluble. It'll mix and keep going through. I push down a little bit to squeeze it out over the top. I'm going to tear off a piece of tape, the length that I need. I'm going to use the bottom wall for that. I'm not going to go all the way into the corner because we'll have too many pieces of tape in the corner when all three corners come together. Now the fold that's naturally in there, I'm going to go on ahead and crease that. And just start mashing this thing up in there. Alright guys, I'll use a trowel to push that in there, and I can do that. I'm going to wipe this off and wipe it back on up there on top. Yeah, I've seen them do that. That machine they got will wipe this thing on there. In one wipe, it puts the mud on and the tape together at the same time. It's a big long tool, and they just hold the thing and wipe it down the wall, and it goes on. Another reason you want to get this stuff reduced with water is not just so the tape doesn't blister, but gives you a little bit more working time when you're slow like me. That doesn't work with plaster because plaster sets chemically like concrete does. This drywall mud will just it'll dissolve in water even if it's years old. I'm not left-handed, but I kind of got to do this left-handed because I can't finish on this end if I do it right-handed. I'm going to press this in there tight. Just like that. I'm going to take this trowel and just press the bottom corner down like that, and try to keep this top corner off of the work altogether. Well, I can't do it there. I have to start start out here. I'll finish that with the sander. Well, that's how I put the tape on. I don't know how right or wrong it is, but it works. This corner, and I had a pretty long run, and since I'm slow at this, just to make sure it didn't dry out too much, I'm going to take a spray bottle and just dampen it a little bit on the end where I started. I don't need it so much down here. And now I'm going to do the tape the same way. I'm going to measure it on the floor and then put it up there. Done, and just about all the sanding. I got to a place where I was not going to mix up any more mud. Got all I could get out of there, and you never finish. There's always just a little bit of imperfections around, but nobody's paying me to do this. This is my little place. And I'm not going to spend all my time looking for imperfections and staring at them, so I just had to wipe a little bit more on here because some of the paper, the tape was starting to show through, and that always sticks out like a sore thumb when it's painted. There's a couple of nails right here that are showing through from when I put this piece up years ago. I'm not worried about those because I got a long light that's going to run across there that way. Now what I might do is drill a hole through the center of this and go up at an angle and pull my wire out there and then fill this hole in with plaster. I might do that because that light is narrow and it's not going to meet up with this hole that's right next to the beam that's going across there, the joist or whatever you call that in the ceiling. So there's always places you can put a little bit more, but I'm done because I'm not going to get finished if I keep going. It's I don't know, 9:30 at night, I think, 10 maybe. So I'll paint this in the morning. I got just a little bit of sanding, just a couple little spots like this here, and there's a wet spot up there. It's a little bit damp, so just a little bit of sanding. I might take a sponge and wipe over some of it. Anyway, I started to clean up this mess in the kitchen where the dust has been. I just thought I'm going to show. This is what I've been living in for 3 weeks now, and even in the bathroom there, it's all over the bathroom sink. I gotta clean all this up. I put that on the edge with my 12-inch knife. And the reason why is because I want to use this when I get into the corners and places like that. I want to use this as a guide to keep my paint off the walls, so I don't have to mask the whole thing. I'm using one of these foam brushes right now to just go around and get where I couldn't get into with the roller. And this piece here we'll deal with later. Of course, I can do that after everything's finished. When I make some kind of trim to go around this door, we'll cut out a little piece of plywood and stick on that. You know, you can't put drywall on that. So I'm going to go ahead and paint it though. I'm not a painter. I'm not a carpenter. I don't mind doing electric. and plumbing repairs, but the drywall and studs, framing, that's just not my thing. I got the tools for it and I know enough to get it done, but I was thankful to have a friend that's a lot better at that do the major part of this rebuilding this room, at least rebuilding these walls on the outside while we had the roof supported on supports. We had before I ran the wiring through that wall, we took one of the last pieces of OSB or plywood or whatever you want to call it. On the outside it was a vertical piece, lengthwise. We put a couple of hinges on it. We were just passing in and out that way instead of walking through the house with materials. We had everything out there. We were just working in our way in and out until we got down to getting close to the end of the drywall. We brought all of those in, and in order to drywall this wall, I needed to finish the electric. So I had to run the wires through that wall, which would have made it hard to climb in and out. And so that was just a handy little thing that I didn't get to put on video. Paint is drying on those drawers, cabinets outside. I'm going to finish doing the baseboards in here. I got a piece back there behind that cabinet. I did that last night while I was painting this cabinet because I wanted to have that corner ready to put that cabinet in. That thing sure does look better than it was, even with two drawers out of it. It sure looks better than it did. And this one that was canary yellow that sits right here, I'd be happy to see that thing, its new color. I'm going to measure for a piece of baseboard along here. Yeah, I bought these new speakers. I tell you what, they're cheap, but boy, do they sound good on the computer. I bought 3 sets of them, one for each computer. They're $120 a piece at Best Buy, and they're Logitech. I may have to do a video on that. But I like them. 400 watts. They got a nice sound to them. So I just cut my 45 right here. I had to flip it upside down and cut it right there. Sorry I didn't catch that on camera, but gotta measure off. It's a plywood to sit on top of this safe. This printer does not sit on this safe. It sits on that canary yellow cabinet that we're painting, and the microwave sits on this safe. But the feet underneath the microwave just barely do sit on the edge of this. So I'm going to cut out a little piece of plywood, just slightly smaller than the bottom of this microwave, to set between the microwave and the safe. That way it's got a little free play. It doesn't have to be just barely on the edge of sliding off of there. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to cut another piece that will sit on top of the yellow, what was a yellow cabinet, and under the printer. Cut out another piece that's going to actually just about come up to the table height here. This will be moved over this way a little bit more. It'll be another piece sitting there underneath the printer, and you'll see.
piece of wood. Yeah, there's some nice piece of sandpaper on that body file there. Yeah, I got a few body tools in there. They're scattered around. Haven't done body work yet on this channel. One of these days I will. I don't have a belt sander. I keep threatening to buy one and just haven't done it. I don't do a lot of woodwork and there's not a lot of space in this shop. I'm going to do this all the way around and then paint it. Together, got my stuff in there that goes in it. And this board here is going to sit on top of the safe, and the microwave will sit on this board, but this thing is just a little bit tacky. So I'm going to let that dry some more. What else? I'm going to let this paint dry some more before I cut out the piece that's going to sit on top of that underneath the printer. The printer sits up here, but I'm going to cut out another piece of wood to sit on top of it that'll fill in this gap here, add just a touch more table space. I think it's turning out good. Put some door trim on. There's more to do. There's imperfections that are, there's a real big bow in this wall that just comes way out into the kitchen side, so I'm not worried about it. This thing is so much better than what it was. It is so much better. I'm at a stopping point now. I got a plan to box this thing in, and I'm going to put a piece of paneling on that. Here's the one file cabinet that I did not. It's underneath the color printer here. I did not paint this one. I don't know if I will or not. We'll think about that later. And look, I got most of my kitchen back. I'm real happy about that. Back, and I had to do something different because this desk is all messed up right in here because I didn't have a mouse pad for a long time. I took the top off of my desk. I don't know if anybody saw any older videos that had my desk in it that had shelves and stuff built in. I put shelves up there on the wall instead, and I did something different. I took a piece of paneling, wall paneling, that has a picture on it of wood, and it's in the kitchen here, and I'm going to put that on I'm going to put that on top of the desk. I cut a piece out the right size, and I bought this tabletop covering. It's about a 1/16 of an inch thick, I guess, and bought that to put on top of this. First I tried to put like a polyurethane type of coating on this paneling on the other piece. This is 2 feet wide. The other half of it is 2 feet wide. I tried on that one first, and the polyurethane was not going to stick to this artificial wood here. So I thought, well, I'll just try putting this plastic on there. So let me put this on the desk. Let's see how that looks. Pretty good. Let me get this desk back in its place back there and get everything back on it, and we'll go from there. A good stopping point. The only thing I have not done is finish this cabinet here for the panel for the electric box there. But I got my TV here, my color printer here. There's the computer that I do my bills on and do my running around on Amazon and YouTube and everything else. There's my new tabletop for my desk with this plastic thing and the piece of paneling there. That seems to be okay. It's not sliding around too much. Got my office all done, I think, pretty much, except for this panel right here. I need to make a door to put over that and put a piece of paneling of some kind over that plywood. But this is where I sit and watch TV. There's my color printer cabinet down there with printer supplies. Here's my desk that I did that finishing. Put that piece of paneling on there, that plastic protective shield. I think that looks pretty good for what it is. There's my regular computer that I just do my bills on and do my Googling and YouTube and stuff, except for editing. Editing's over here on this side. I'm editing this video right now while we're talking, while I'm doing this. There's my monitors for outside to see what's going on outside. Painted this file cabinet. It was like a tan color, like this one down here, with rust and dents and stuff on it. I bought it used, and so I just painted that, and it came out pretty good. And I painted this one here that was kind of like a canary yellow. You can see there. Painted that one, and kind of matches the black and white printer. That's my scanner bed there, and that's yeah, I'm really happy with how this thing all turned out. On the extra outlets down there underneath, I got the power speakers hooked up down there that go to these computers over here. There's 2 computers here. I'm editing this one, and this is a spare one that'll also edit. And sometimes when I'm trying to learn how to do something with the editing, I can watch YouTube videos on this one, pause it, and then practice with it over here on this one. So that's pretty handy to have the 2 set up there. Always got to have a backup plan. So everything came out pretty good. I got shelves in here. Got these, there's a little place up there. I need to put a little piece up there. Finish that one day. But all the drywall came out nice, and got 2 light switches here. One is for this light. The other one's for that light there, which brightens up the room quite a bit if I need that one. Well, that will be it. Thanks for watching.